Hey, what's up, guys? This is Shawn Greenway again for another business spotlight of the week. I got a great guest today with me, Chase Buckner, Director of Marketing at High Level. What's up, Chase?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Good to see you again. I finally got to meet Chase face to face in Dallas at the Sasspreneur conference, which was
Mhm.
a couple months ago, I guess, in Dallas. Amazing. Chase, the story is that we almost didn't go. Like, I think we got down to maybe just a couple of weeks ahead of time, and I heard some other people going. Is like, this has got to be good. Let's go. So glad that we did, not
Oh,
just from all the incredible information that you guys gave us, from you, Paulson, Shawn, Alex, Kelsey, everybody. It was the people in the room too, you know. Like we met a lot of new people, made some new friends, and to be honest, we actually have got some joint ventures going currently on the side with some of the high levelers, which is kind of maybe what we might talk about on one of the last things today is, you know, don't be afraid to embrace the high level community because there's just so much
hmm.
greatness out there because you can't build an empire by yourself. So
Sure.
I'm going to give you a minute kind of for the people that if they've been living under a rock, don't know a little bit about you, give us a little short background and how you've come this far to high level.
Sure thing. And excuse my appearance. I'm in vacation mode here. So,
It's all right.
I haven't shaved in a couple of days and we'll keep it laid back. Um, but yeah, so like you said, I was recently director of sales and marketing. I was able to shift that off. We've got a new VP of sales. So we've really been scaling the team over the past 12 months. And yeah, man, we're thrilled. And I'm so happy that you went to the event. I didn't know that you almost didn't go, but it was
Yeah.
great to see you guys there and talk about everything that you guys are doing at Lead Dragon.
Yeah. And I have to say, I've told you this before 100 times, but thanks again. Like last day of the conference, guys, I showed up the day. I've been doing conferences forever. I always show up the day before to get a chance to meet some of the speakers in the lobby because that's the trick. If anybody's listening, make sure you get to conferences early, hang out in the lobby bar or whatever the night before, get a chance to meet speakers sometimes, talk to them, which is incredible. So there I was waiting. I don't think I seen any of you guys that night before, but long story short, the last day, Chase and Paulson asked me and my business partner Javier to actually come up and speak and tell our story, which was amazing that you allowed us 30 minutes to do that. So, guys, you never know. You can't find out until you just show up. So, let's plug before we get really going. I want to plug that you guys, and you can tell more about it. You got a big event coming up in October. So, tell them that real quick so that nobody misses out.
Yeah, we do. So we are having our first global summit in Dallas, and the dates are one sec. I always forget. October 24th is the VIP event day, and then the official event starts on the 25th and goes to the 27th. Um, so it's going to be awesome. We're going to have about 600 people there. We've got an awesome venue downtown Dallas. A lot of really cool stuff planned. We're going to do our level up day there. So it's going to be a ton of new features that drop on that day.
Yeah.
Plus we get to see the roadmap for 2023.
Yeah. So, depending on when this podcast is actually put out, there's going to be some great speakers there, guys. So, I'm telling you, I was at the Sasspreneur event with me and my business partner. You got to go. So, I don't care, whatever, it doesn't matter what the cost is. Just when they put it out, you better go. Be there, be in the same
Yeah.
rooms.
And we're going to do an awards ceremony at the end. So we have three different types of awards that we'll be giving out. The one looks so cool. It's like, you remember the Moon Man, the MTV Moon
Yeah.
Man Award?
Yeah.
Well, we had the same people that make the Moon Man make a highly version of it. So our mascot in this statue, there's like a
Oh,
gold, silver, or bronze, silver, and gold version of them, and they look so cool. So we're going to be giving those away. There's plaque award that's going to be given away for Sasspreneurs, and then there's an award for the folks that have won an electric vehicle through our supercharged SAS program. So it's going to be a
very
lot of
nice
fun.
and very nice. Hopefully, we can gun for that, the electric
Yeah,
one
you
one
guys are
day.
real close for the Sasspreneur one.
Okay, good, good, good. Let's see if we can't push it over the top. Let's just keep pushing. That's why we're doing these. We want to show our goal that, especially over at agencysas.io, is to get people off the fence, right? Because we come in just like everybody else. A little over 2 years ago, most people know our story, so I won't tell it. But for this past year, I feel like for us, like this is really our first year of SaaS. So kind of like the rookies of the year type situation that we got going on. So we want to help people get off the fence, right? Push them over the fence, because guys, you just gotta take that chance, and because it's not that much more. And I'll let Chase talk a little bit about more in just a second. But when you make that leap, they always say, just make the decision and you'll figure it out. That's kind of what we did. We woke up one day and it's like, oh my God, we got a rocket under us. And we didn't realize it. We were just using it for fulfillment. You know the story. And
Yep.
then when we realized that, wait a minute, we got a rocket here. And then we started putting the pieces together. We still had to make the commitment to go ahead and get to the SaaS level.
Mhm.
And then once you do, I was on the podcast with Shawn Clark recently, and we were talking about this. Is like sometimes you've got to pay attention, and I think that is so important. That was our leap. It was like, let's do it. We signed up for the SaaS, and then we started spending that money. It's like, we got to do something. So it kind of forces you to do that. So
Yeah.
if you would kind of take us down that, because you and Kelsey and Shawn, all them kind of crafted all that from having the regular plan to going to SaaS.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about the mainly the major benefits and what people have by going to the SaaS?
Yeah, for me, it's when you're ready for it, it automates everything, right? So like high level has always been white label from the beginning. If you're on the 297 plan, you can white label the platform, and you can run with it, but it's a lot of manual work that you're doing, right? Like every time you get a new account, you have to create the account. You've got to manually generate the users, manually set their permissions, send them their logins, monitor their billing. Like you have to do all that stuff yourself. 497 plan pro, all that gets automated. You get the configurator. People that buy those plans, they auto generates their account, sends them their login, monitors their billing, all that kind of stuff. And and there's just more and more that we're going to continually add to that. And that is really the opportunity in my mind. Like it's no longer just a white label, right? There are lots of products out there that you can white label, but there are none that I've seen that do what we're doing, which is literally trying to turn you into a real SaaS company. Um, and that's the main benefit. And I think it's a mindset shift to get to the point where you're ready to do that. But I love talking to folks like you, and your story is becoming more and more common, where agencies are so focused on their services, they don't really want to hear anything else. And as the years goes by, you realize how hard it is to scale a services-based company. Or maybe you do get really, really good at it after years and years, but you're seeing what the margins are, and you're seeing kind of like the best it could be. And I feel like both of those paths eventually lead you to SaaS. And it's no coincidence, right? Every industry is trying to figure out how to get into SaaS. I literally
Yeah.
just saw a tweet today. I think I still have it up. BMW is now a SaaS company. They are offering heated seats as a service. You can subscribe for $18 a month to activate heated seats in your BMW.
Wow.
So think about this, right? Like the
Mm.
biggest, smartest companies in the world are scrambling to figure out how the heck they're going to become SaaS providers. And so here we are handing it to you on a silver platter, and the opportunity, I think we're really just getting started. And I don't think most folks really understand the opportunity. And so that's why I think, we're in such exciting times.
Man, yeah, that's crazy. BMW, doing something like that. And you're right, a lot of companies are doing it. And I was thinking back too when we were talking about, you know, taking that leap. I mean, I know like whoever's watching and listening, and there's y'all got like 20,000 plus, I guess, on this joined up over there, is that we saw this at the SaaSpreneur conference. Like I felt like there was only a handful of us in the room that were doing
Mhm.
what me and Javier doing. We thought that everybody was doing it, but we're realizing more and more, Chase, that people, they're like, even Javier says, they don't know how to take off their agency cap and put on the
Mhm.
SaaS cap, because
Mhm.
there is a little mind shift there. And everybody knows the video that I did about, we started out at 90% agency, 10% SaaS, and we flipped the switch. We're 90% SaaS, 10% agency. And once you can get off the fence and realize that, get 5 to 10 users under your belt, you'll learn quickly what to do and what not to do. Now that we've gone through probably 500 onboarding calls, even our onboarding list looks very good. Javier's got it tweaked out really good, and it also allowed us to figure out how to go get more support too from some of these third-party guys and high level. So, like, just since we've been back from the SaaSpreneur conference, what we took in from you guys and the people in the room is that we've made a lot of different little changes with support and all the things to try to continue to grow, because now we really are, what would you call, seeing the fruits of our labor when it comes to just support versus all that fulfillment we used to do with the agency.
Oh yeah. We
were working, we were doing 7 days a week, always trying to make people happy. And that's just not a good life to live, because, look at you, there you're on vacation, but you're still handling business. It's the same for us now. Like, when we get off this podcast today, I got some things I'm going to go take care of. And guess what? I would have never really, be honest with you, been able to do that if we still had our marketing agency. So as far as all the fulfillment,
it's a very interesting balance, because in my mind, I don't know that, like, sure, you guys are, I don't know, would you say you're 100% SaaS? Probably not, right?
No. And I can share this with the group, is that we still have our agency and the all that. Now we found, because of what we were doing, we found someone to partner with that we still get the leads, because we've got such a great, reputation. And then we just kind of hand it on over to another marketing company. So we're still able to use that, but yeah, we're 90-10.
Well, that's the relationship that I'm getting at, which I think is so interesting, because we made a bet early on, and I think it's proven to be true, which is that they go hand in hand, right? A business everybody knows that they need software to succeed in today's day and age, but the business themselves are not capable of choosing the software, setting it up, building it out, all that kind of stuff. So they really need a consultant or an agency, right? That's the smartest thing that a business can do, is hook up with the right folks to help them get, their tech stack set up and running and continually optimized. And so the problem that we saw was, it was usually the agency that did all that work, and then the agency would get, fired for their Google Ads package or whatever. Meanwhile, the customer continues to run on the software that the agency chose and set up and bundled together for them, et cetera. And so the software companies keep getting paid for years, but the agency's gone. And so we wanted to change that, right? We wanted to give the agency the ability to also sell software and benefit from that sticky revenue, whether or not their services packages are still being paid for. But we really think it's the winning formula, because, and I don't think we're trying to convince people to go 100% SaaS, even though it's possible and people are doing it.
Yeah.
But because that relationship is so tight, you'd be leaving money on the table to just strictly be SaaS and not at least do what you're sort of doing, which is joint venture around services. Because the core of the software, that's like the base, right? And so whoever sets that up and sets it up well for a business has earned the trust of the business. And once you earn the trust of a business, you get entrusted to make other decisions, right? So it's like, hey, the software, our CRM setup that you guys have for us is amazing. We love some of the automated stuff that you set up. We'd really like to, ramp this up with ads. Okay, great. We have a great network of ads providers. I'll introduce you to 3 of them. You guys pick the ones that you like. If it doesn't work out with them, don't worry, I'll bring in another one, And so you're going to get paid off that relationship that you have with the ads providers that you're bringing in. But at the end of the day, it's not your neck on the chopping block. And, I think this is something that it takes marketers years to realize, but whoever's running ads is always the first on the chopping block. And, I'm sorry if that rubs anybody who's listening the wrong way, but it's just the truth. And the reason for that is, there are a million people that know how to generate leads, right? It's becoming a commodity. Like, literally the goal of Facebook and Google are to make it so easy that anybody can run ads. And so there's always going to be somebody cold calling, cold emailing your customers saying that they can get leads cheaper than you. And the business owner has no idea what's real and what's not, but they like the idea of cheaper. And so, it's just the nature of that service. The churn is high.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's super hard to build a huge, sustainable, high margin, profitable agency on the back of that service. Whereas if you're the core software provider and you can bring folks in and out for all the other needs that they have as they have and need them, then you're in a really, really good position.
Yeah. And we're actually, because, we made that switch, we're seeing now because of the marketing side, like I wouldn't tell anybody to go 100% SaaS, like you're saying, unless you just absolutely want to, because there is, like you said, there's an opportunity there. Now that we see that once we really get it established where we want to be with our white label, is that we know how now to grow back the marketing side even bigger, because now we have, like you said, now we have the control. And to be quite honest, I think you can blow it out the water from what you were doing previously to the marketing side, because we know what we got now. Now we're not afraid to have to go after bigger companies for the marketing, because we know that we can control that. Before, man, we were just, you and Paulson said it the best, is like, it doesn't matter how well you do and get them leads and everything else. They're going to be gone in 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
And if you can't see what they're doing and help and control them, because I remember being on calls, and I hate to say it because I never like to lose my temper, but I almost lost it with a client one time when we were had the marketing, and I was using kind of high level for a minute, and she was trying to tell me that they were following up and all this, and I'm like, no, you're not.
Of course.
So if when you take that leap and go SaaS, go ahead and get those first 5 to 10, you will learn a big lesson that you can grow your marketing agency even bigger because of what you're going to learn just going through, and let's call it beta. Our first 3 were, gave it away. It's like 3 different industries, but, in return for feedback, video testimonials, all that. And then we slowly implemented some of our marketing clients on it as well. And then once we started seeing all the feedback and what we could control and see the reports, is like, let's go. So that's how we got to that.
You hit the nail on the other head of again, sort of the interconnectedness of the relationship between SaaS and services. It'll go the other way too, right? Like if you run ads and you know what you're doing and you're using high level behind it, the number one reason that ad services churn is not because the people running the ads don't know what they're doing. It's because the business doesn't know what to do with leads off the internet, right? I say this all the time. Businesses are used to referrals. They're used to friends and family recommending their product or service. So people just show up at the door, or they're calling in saying that they want it. That's drastically different than a Facebook lead ad conversion, right? And so when you start sending a business leads off the internet, those leads are lukewarm at best, right? They need to be nurtured and closed, and businesses traditionally don't know how to do that. And so there's a huge disconnect there, and you end up in the age-old scenario where you're fighting with your client because they're telling you your leads stink and you're telling them that they must stink at sales. And so the big piece of that is automating that nurture, which high level, it's like the bread and butter of high level. Yep. But that's like layer 2, I would say, right? Like the SaaS mode stuff is like layer 1. It's automated, it's CRM, it kind of runs itself. But when you start talking about ads, you better make sure that you have layer 2 activated and you know how to set it up, and you know what I mean? Because then your ads have a much better shot at being effective. But that also leads to churn, right? Because you get it running, they are closing new business off ad campaigns. And most businesses can really only scale so much, right? So if you have great nurture set in place, you run ads, you drive 20, 30% more business to the average small business, they're going to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, amazing, but turn it off, please. Like we can't handle more than this. Yeah. And that used to happen with us all the time. We would have customers canceling services because we did too good of a job, which is hard to understand, but you got to look like, hey, most businesses aren't ready to scale to a second location or
That's
whatever
right.
it may be, right? So
Yeah.
they're really looking for help, but they're really looking for like a 20 to 30% increase, most businesses. And so you'll churn on ads on a great job that you did. But again, if you're in SaaS mode mentality, they're paying the $200, $300 monthly, bill for the SaaS. They've paid the upgrade to have the automation going on for the ads campaigns. And if they want to turn off the ads, that's fine, because you still, you're retaining them as a happy customer at a couple $100 a month, very high margin. And you can plan for that, right? And
Yeah.
so it's a whole different world, but they are interconnected.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is like most small businesses, especially, they don't understand what a sales cycle is
Mhm.
because, like I said, they're used to referrals. One thing that we're seeing too, even signing up our users, because we're in a couple of different niches, is that a lot of people that are finding the high level and lead dragon, a lot of people are brand new to business in general, so they don't have what's the word business acumen. They
Mhm.
don't understand those things. So if you can get in there, like I think what sets us aside a little bit, is that we're not just offering a SaaS. You sign up, here's some videos, go. You know,
Mhm.
we make sure that we have two really good onboarding calls, and we have a lot of resources. We have a weekly call to let people come in and ask questions. They got problems, and a plethora of recorded master classes. So we're actually trying to teach, how to have a value ladder sales cycle, and not just like you said, not just because most of them, if they're either newly started or they've been getting referrals, there has to be a little bit of element of coaching and teaching, or
100%.
or they're going to drop off. So even if you're an agent, like you were talking about, agency running ads for someone, that's one story, and you really need to educate them. But two, if you're getting users on your white label or high level system, you need to make sure that they understand um, really what to do and use it, or you're going to have the same thing. And we've witnessed it. You're going to have drop off, like even on the high level side here with Lead Dragon. We've seen because of the industry we're in, niche, it's got a higher bounce level or
Mhm.
drop off anyway. And if you don't really get them going with it and get the quick wins and they
Mhm.
understand it, you know, they're going to be gone in 3 to 4 months, just like the other thing. So
Mhm.
it's not like people, I think the average is what, 5% drop off in SaaS,
Mhm.
but depending on the niche that you pick will depend on how much education, you've got to give them in order to stay in. So because of we've went through that, and I'm like I told you before the call, I'm glad we've went through that, is that we understand that we're going to pick a couple other industries kind of
Mhm.
hopefully related so that we can level out that drop off with, I wouldn't say more educated, but that maybe they're already used to tools, right? So they're going to have a better understanding. Plus two, I won't spill all the beans on this one, but we're going to start another SaaS at the end of the year. And it's a specific niche, a specific thing, because the content easier to make. The
Yeah.
routine is
Yeah.
because, guys, anybody that's listening to this, we don't have the magic formula up here. High level had it. All we're doing is repeating what Chase and the guys are doing over there. Everything that they do, Chase knows this because they can see it. We're just trying to mimic them and they want you to. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys have
Totally.
got to, you got to, it's an easy formula, right?
I mean, we see it, right? There are certain factors that just correlate really highly with success. Success being really low churn, and the number one and number two are um, working with businesses that are already successful, right? So like established businesses that have been in business for a couple of years, that are getting traffic to their website and their Google Maps and stuff like that already. Because once you activate the chat widget, GMB chat, all that kind of stuff, you're just kind of tapping into a flow of leads that was there like under the surface waiting to be tapped into. And the flip side of that, the second point is making sure that they're downloading the mobile app. Because once you are in an industry where putting the chat widget on their website, turning on the missed call text back, activating GMB chat, integrating their Instagram DMs, setting up a Linktree page on their socials. Collectively, those things start just generating activity. And when the activity is flowing through the mobile app that you gave them, then it's game over, right? Because every day their phone is buzzing and it's activity and it's all positive and it's because of you. And so why would you ever want to turn that off, right? And so that's, where you want to get to. But 100% you're on the money with continued education. And that's really my favorite model, which is like, if I'm running a white label SaaS, once a quarter, I'm putting out content to my customer base. Like, hey, it's Q3. Have you done your database reactivation yet? If not, here's a reminder on how to do it, right? And I've got a little course put together on come up with a new offer, select all the contacts in the database, feed them into the workflow. And then at the bottom is my call to action, right? But if you just want us to do this for you, click here. I charge them whatever, $100 for a one-off DBR, and boom, maybe so now I'm making additional margin through a one-off service. But more importantly, hopefully the education is helping most of my customers do it themselves, right? And so I'm just there to plant ideas into their heads.
Yes.
Hey, did you guys see this going on in the world? It's a great opportunity to go run an offer like this right now. Mm-hmm. And that again is like you're just building the trust. They know they want to stick with you because clearly you know what you're doing. The industry. You're on top of the trends, and that's really, to me, a really fun business to run. Right? You're running a software business with really high margins, and you get to just focus on being like that industry authority who stays on top of trends, comes up with fresh ideas, gets it out there through content, but is also there to help people if they just want it done for them. Mm-hmm. And you take the revenue off that as well.
Yeah, and once you take that leap and go to SaaS mode, you don't have to be alone because there's so many high levelers out there that you can collab with. Like we've got 2 already that we've certified as Lead Dragon partners. One does generates leads in a certain niche. The other one does full build outs in a certain niche to help their business flow. We've got another call this afternoon with probably another collab, because Chase, what we're seeing is that because there's so many people out there that don't want to take that leap and they don't want to figure out how to get the good support like we've got, because we got world-class support over here, is that they don't want to do all that. They're coming to us and wanting to work with us. And what I'm doing is just figuring out with them, say, look, fine, we've got the support. If you can do the sales and get them using Lead Dragon and do your build out, whatever it is you're offering on your side, send them over here. We can definitely have that partnership. And that's what we see.
That's key. And we're starting to move that ball now. Like we're going to get to a place where there'll be a whole bunch of certifications that folks can take, pass, and then go into sort of a marketplace of certificate carrying folks, right? So that you could go in there and say like, all right, well, I'm looking for somebody who can, support my white label or build workflows for me or do whatever, and find those people. Because right now we're still in the very early days, right? So a lot of people that are finding success are the ones that are capable of kind of figuring it all out on their own. But I think the people who hook up with other people in the community for bits and pieces of things are the ones that are really kind of shortcutting that. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like, that's exactly what you're doing. And so for all people going into SaaS mode, that's my advice. It's, hey, first you got to understand the mentality of it. Then you got to get your tech stuff set up, like figure out your brand. Are you going to niche or not? Get it all set up, your sales page ready to go. And then you need to hook up with someone for support, right? Because you don't want to be handling support for the platform, because high level is super robust, right? Like it's impossible for any one person to know the ins and outs, right? So there are lots of folks in the community, like sounds like you guys are building right now, where they'll handle those questions for you through like a ticketed support system, so that all you need to do is focus on selling. And that's really where I think you want to get to. It's an amazing model once you're there, up and running. You're focused on sales. You're focused on, again, being that educator, the industry expert, helping your clients
continue to stay motivated and active. And yeah, I think hooking up with other folks is a really good way to help you stay focused on what you're good at and not get bogged down by stuff that you don't want to have to learn.
Yeah, because we all know you can grow a lot faster, hooking up with other people, especially in the high level. Like the call we got this afternoon, they're on high level, but they just don't want to go through the figuring out how to have the right support and all that. So
yeah,
we're going to figure out, just like I did with the other one, we're going to figure out how to make that work. They have a market agent. They're still going to make, the great money on whatever they're going to do with their build outs, their lead generation, all that. But now their source is going to be Lead Dragon as the system instead of just their high level version, which is fine because if they're not going to get off the fence, they might as well win. And that win is to do business with us. But the last part is that if you're listening and you're thinking about jumping, make that leap, because if you do, like I said earlier in the podcast, is that it will force you to think about things and then, start having classes, bring in people like Chase and all the other ones that they can talk about this kind of stuff. That's one of the things that I was talking to you earlier, is that I'm starting to try to book people for to do master classes collaboratively with me from the different industries. So continue just have that education, because eventually there's going to be, thousands of people that are going to have white labels. Everybody knows that that high levels everywhere. Don't hide from that. I mean, we always say lean in.
I mean, you'd be stupid to hide from it, right? Because it's, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in, these features are proven in the market, which means every business is going to seek them out over the next 5 years, right? As business owners become more and more savvy, they're going to learn, oh, it's possible that if someone calls my number and we don't answer, that they automatically get a text back. How does that happen? Who can set this up? They're going to go on the path looking for that feature. They're going to realize that, hey, we should have a Linktree page on our socials, right? We should be generating leads off of our social profiles. They're going to realize that Google Business Chat is a thing, and they're going to want to figure out how to turn it on and manage it. So it's inevitable that they're going to find and seek out these services. So it's just a no-brainer to be the one to give it to them and capitalize on the revenue there, as opposed to being the what's the word I'm looking for here? The reactionary recipient of those requests. Because then you're in the mode that I was in 5 years ago, which is piecing tech together through Zapier and APIs to try to please my clients. And that's always a mess, and it doesn't end well for you or the client, right? And so in my mind, it just makes total sense, regardless if you want to continue on as an agency, fantastic. But your customers are going to start looking for this stuff. So you might as well just give it to them all bundled up under your own logo. Because when the day comes, and I think I told the story at that event, when at our agency, we had built hundreds of websites for customers, and I was going through our hosting, just doing like a cleanup. And I was just like, it didn't even dawn on me how many sites that we were hosting for $50 a month. And once I did the math, I was just like, oh my gosh, we have hundreds of people paying us $50 a month, many of which we haven't even interacted with in 2 years. No phone calls, no emails. This is insane. It's a utility bill that these folks are just happy to keep paying because they want their website to stay up. This is the best revenue we have in the company. And, we were so busy with all the different things and fires and this and that. And it was like, oh, that's interesting. We should talk about that sometime. And, we didn't even double back to it for, I don't know how long later, but that's what got my mind turning, is like, what's the bigger version of this? What's the next utility bill that we can capitalize on? And that's exactly what High Level has become. It's an opportunity for you to become a utility provider to folks that are happy to pay for these features, for the benefit that they deliver. And that's the real, when you talk about it from a SaaS perspective, that's the opportunity, right? Because if you look at folks that are trying to build their own softwares, what a hard game that is nowadays, right? We're past the days where, you know, everybody sees a great idea and it doesn't exist in the market yet, right? Like it's all pretty much been built by now. So you're going to go build some super niche thing and then you got to try to convince people to buy it. It's a super slow, hard, expensive road. And so, you know, this opportunity that we've created is like a proven set of features the market is paying hundreds of dollars a month for that you can just take as your own.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really, I mean, look, again, going back to BMW, like BMW is trying to figure out how to get $18 a month out of
I
someone.
know.
And here is a platform that you can go easily charge $200 a month for. So it's really, in my opinion, a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's ridiculous for anybody that would not want to have something like this because you guys got the developers, you got everything. I mean, literally, we took high level, slapped this on it, lead dragon, and figured out the onboarding calls, the support, how to have the video libraries, have the live chats 7 days a week, all this stuff. And we're a company. And there's a handful out there that's probably exited and made money and I'm sure somebody will knock on our door because of what we're trying to build over here one day and want to buy it. But man, I would have never dreamed that this could be possible,
Well, that's the other
5 years
thing.
ago.
I mean, you raised a point there is like, go try to sell a services-based agency. That's really hard. You have to be really buttoned up and your books have to be immaculate. But to sell a book of subscriptions, that's pretty easy to sell and you'll get a pretty good valuation on it as well. So we've already seen a bunch of agencies sell their versions of high level, exit on top of that. And so, we're not going to stop, right? We're going to continue to refine and build in the feature sets that we don't currently have yet. Like blogging is going to go live soon. That's going to be amazing, right? When you can go to somebody and say, hey, you don't need your old WordPress site anymore. And yes, I know you have 1,000 blog posts on there, but we've got an auto importer. So let's just suck them all in. And now you can, it's just more value that you can add to your white label. Social media scheduler is out, right?
That's huge.
One network left, Twitter, right? And then you'll be able to automate and schedule social across all the networks right inside. And that's a feature that you can, a lot of people have in their second or third tier of their SaaS, right? So it's an upgrade. And okay, so I upgrade and you turn it on and that's it, right? You don't have to do any more work. They're just using your version of high level now instead of Buffer or Hootsuite or whatever to schedule their social posts. And so, there's so many features that are going to either get better or that are going to get added. And so it's just more and more value.
Yeah, man. High level, you guys haven't even hit orbit yet with this rocket. So, so we're totally excited. All the new things coming, the affiliate opportunity with inside of the system, social media planner. That's a big deal for sure. And I know
it's great. We've been using it internally. We run a 3 Facebook groups and the main group is huge. And so we automate posts inside the group and in the same calendar that we can schedule over to LinkedIn and Instagram and stuff. So it's a utility, right? Like businesses just need this stuff, including us. And so, and then you go look at the prices of what does it cost to use Buffer, Hootsuite or whatever per month to do that. More value to add to your package.
Absolutely, man. Well, Chase, thanks for spending some time with me today. Last thing before we go, October is the next event coming up. It's the big one. So whoever's listening out there watching this, make sure as soon as you see it hit, you better go get the tickets because it's going to fill up. So y'all have got a maximum number, right?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere between 500 and 600 because some of the tickets are reserved. So yeah, it'll be like 500 tickets and then it'll be done. For the first one. Next year, we anticipate, a couple thousand people, but we wanted to
stadium
keep it kind of small the first time so that we could actually, figure this out. We haven't run an event this big. You were at the only other event we've run and it was 50 people. So we're going from 50 to 500, which should be interesting. And then I'm sure we'll learn a lot along the way for next year.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be exciting for sure. Parting, I always ask this, what is the current book that you're reading or you've just got through reading?
Oh, good question. So, if we're speaking about non-work related stuff, I'm currently
Sure.
reading A Farewell to Arms,
Okay.
which is a reread because I was into trivia with some friends a couple of weeks ago, and I was the only person to get the answer, and it was A Farewell to Arms, and so I was like, I'd like to go reread that. So I'm rereading that. I am in the middle, business wise, of the Story Brand book.
Mhm.
I can't remember the title of that. Is it just Story Brand or something like that? But anyway, the guy who created Story Brand wrote a book, and I've been trying to go deeper into that because I really think that is a huge key to all of this, is being able to tell stories. And when you figure out the mindset shift of, like, when you're selling something to somebody, they are the hero of the story, not you.
Yes.
You can create much better copy, much better marketing materials, and all of that. So, wish I knew the title off the top of my head, but if you just Google Story Brand book,
Yeah.
you'll find
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Appreciate that. I always love to hear what some smart big minds are reading, because there's always nuggets in books. I do a lot of audibles because I just don't have time to sit down and physically
Mhm.
read. So I'm always trying to just put good information in for sure. So thanks again for being on the show. Guys, stay tuned for the next. I've got another special guest coming up. So until next time, everybody go kill it. I'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me.